But that's not my decision. That was ABC's decision to let him go.
You're leaving out an essential detail. Yeah. You have a high-profile Trump official who goes on a podcast, very prominent podcast, and insists, among other things, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. At that point, this is called jawboning. That's the technical term for it. They're doing absolutely everything they can to not only intimidate them, but every other broadcaster. And the president is sending a very clear message from Air Force One. If you're giving me negative coverage, which apparently includes comedians doing monologues, we may come after you. That is completely un-American. I'm glad that Ted Cruz is saying the right thing, and Ted Cruz being someone who I think is probably has a finger in the wind and sees the current shifting here and is saying it's probably a good place to break ranks with the president. Maybe there'll be other people.
This is the 21st century, and we're still doing this, and the government has their hand because they just happen to be broadcast networks?
This is the ideal argument for limited government. There used to be conservatives in this country. I'm libertarian. I still believe in that. And look, I actually do want to call out something. I heard earlier this week Ezra Klein and Ross Douthat having a conversation, and there was this moment where Ezra says, I probably needed to acknowledge back a couple of years ago that we were a little too censorious, that the left was actually interested in kind of intimidating
something
people.
More liberals should say.
I think it would help.
They should acknowledge, not just in passing.
I do think it's important, and I hate to do it this way because it sounds like, well, both sides, the other side did, but we have become accustomed to this existential rhetoric. We've become accustomed to having debates by way of kind of taxonomical, categorical condemnations. That's racist. The analysis is systemic. We're not talking about actual things done by actual people. We're talking about people in the abstract. It's white supremacy. It's the blacks.
That's a really interesting point.
Even using it here is jarring. But that has become our politics, and I would agree with so much of what you said. The one thing I would say, though, is I don't know that it's the phones. The phones are a vector. But ultimately, we are making these choices.
You're right.
We are choosing to interact on social media in the way that we do. There was that, I'm sure we all saw that YouGov poll that said, oh, the left is more likely to endorse extremism and cares about all this. It's still the case that the mass majority of Americans, plus 85% of Democrats, hate what is happening to this country. They hate this kind of hideous rhetoric. And that is what we need to focus on. We have to stop letting the extremes command our politics.
100%.
We're missing one important key of this fact pattern is that Barack Obama is black. And that actually is a bit, no, it is
Is he black? What does that mean exactly? His mom is, his father is. We
whatever
still
your
operate under
definition
the one-drop rule.
Let me tell you something. Whatever your definition might want to be of is he's black.
I think he's a
when most people look at him.
No. We do.
You're
we
black.
Don't got the
I'm
time
black.
today
Abby's black. Barack Obama is black.
Let me just say.
But that's.
Let me just say. I just think that this is interesting because. Ashley, I'm hearing you say that part of the problem was that Barack Obama constantly reminded white America that he considered himself to be black.
No.
And that was part of what they found offensive about.
No, it's a more nuanced point.
The majority, my father was blind, but the majority of Americans are not blind. He didn't have to open his mouth for people to be reminded that he was the first one that was different than any other president that has ever been in this country.
Every president has been different because they're all individuals. There was a moment on the campaign trail. There was a moment on the campaign trail where someone stood up and talked to then candidate Obama and said, hey, look, all my friends keep telling me you're black. I tell them, no, you're biracial. And he lurched at the opportunity to say, hey, I'm perceived as black. I'm so glad I have an opportunity to talk about this. That's how I self-identify.
So you didn't think he was black?
I am an individual. I am not a black man. I don't even know what that means. I am an individual. Race is a preposterous social construct.
Do you feel like that when you get pulled over by the police?
I do feel like that when I get pulled over by the police. You know why? Because when they talk to me, they're engaging with this vernacular. They're engaging with me in this particular way. And it's impossible to misconstrue what's going on here.
Go ahead. What is going on there? What is going on there? What is going on there? A different type of blackness than somebody that actually might not have that vernacular?
I'm an individual.
Right, but what is, hold on. Wait a minute.
Okay.
You just said a lot there.
So apparently we do have time.
Okay, so you said when you were pulled over by a police as an individual who happens to have skin that is black, let's say that.
I mean,
or brown, whatever, darker than white, okay?
Yeah.
That when they hear your vernacular, they realize what they're engaging with. And what is that?
A sophisticated individual.
And so when a black person who is pulled over that you might not deem as a sophisticated individual, how will they get engaged with?
The issue would not be their race. It would be the degree of sophistication they have or don't have to navigate the situation.
And when a white person is pulled over...
Again, sophistication is still the key issue.
The statistics don't support that.
I just don't...
They don't.
Go ahead, John.
Look,
I've been thinking a bunch about the fact that there's like something like 100 uncontacted tribes in South America and out in the Indian Ocean, like North Sentinel Island. And in general, people seem to think we shouldn't talk to these people, we should leave them alone. I have a very different perspective. I think we should go to them, bring them the light of today. We have better health care, we have got all sorts of cool technology, we have Shakespeare. We should be bringing them those things, not leaving them isolated all by themselves.
Just don't kill them off with our disease.
No, we'll be careful. We'll be careful, but we should engage.
Maybe we should ask them first.